O Canada, our home and native land.
This is my immigrant Bible. I got this at my citizenship ceremony. Right on the first page at the bottom it says, "We pray that God may bless you and those dear to you in the land which has become your home."
God keep our land.
I love it. Now, this video you're about to see is not going to be complete. It's barely even an intro. Let me start with a quote. "You must be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect." Now that's a conversation starter. A sense of order is a uniquely human ability. I keep my life organized for many reasons. I run things more efficiently, so I accomplish more. I do not waste mental energy on fighting losing battles with chaos. Being on top of things and being prepared for whatever life throws at me reduces anxiety. I feel better about myself because the people appreciate that I remember things, I don't let them down, I'm reliable, and I'm predictable. Now, the last one I can't really prove. Order is beautiful. Order is aesthetically pleasing. To me, for sure. My habits, routines, and little rituals are mostly internal, part of my inner talk and mental housekeeping. There are situations where the lack of organization starts bothering me, but I don't pester other people with this, and I'm not a neat freak. Great thinkers grapple with incredible complexities, go through a messy process, blood, sweat, and tears to arrive at something like a beautiful, simple formula, a God equation, a grand pattern, a compelling visual analogy, or a short sentence with deep meaning. We love to assemble the seemingly random parts of reality into a logical system that explains everything. The four humors of Hippocrates, like life juices. That's a typical early example. The Tibetan Wheel of Life, the Hindu mandalas, and the Buddhist Eightfold Path are the products of the same effort. The artistic representation of Christianity's 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins has a huge history, and it continues to show up in today's pop culture. Social psychologist Shalom H. Schwartz's system of human values is presented in an organized pattern. It's not just practical, it's neat. Remember the quote we started with, "You must be perfect." From the founding fathers of Christianity through Aquinas to modern-day Christian thinkers, we can see a great desire to establish philosophical and theological precision. It appears that sometimes they got lost in detail, they were splitting hairs, and good doctors of the church came up with 255 infallible dogmas. We have to look at their obsession with perfection from a historical perspective, with humility and respect. We have to absorb a lot of material and read and read and read. It is very easy to be critical of Christianity on many levels. Nietzsche did it brilliantly. He had a few good points. Others easily dismiss and even destroy things that they cannot comprehend. Anti-intellectualism is dangerous, as historical examples show. So careful. Our Judeo-Christian intellectual heritage is vast and fascinating, I would even say exotic. However, the frontline soldiers of the faith, the village priests, the friars, needed to bring this down to the level of ordinary people. Simple folks may not readily understand the nature of the Holy Trinity or the transubstantiation in the Eucharist. So priests focused on habit forming, which turned out to be less than perfect. Where are the excellent role models, the wonderful Christians who are a light to the world? There is room for improvement. I can give you an example from my own family. There was a person, not too popular because she was selfish, bossy, and judgmental, not exactly a model Christian. She was, however, convinced that just because she fulfilled her religious obligations, she secured a good spot for herself in heaven. Rule-following, pious show-offs, hypocrites, are called Pharisees. As a young teacher, my head was in the clouds. I believed in the power of rational arguments, logical reasoning, deduction from the facts, establishing cause and effect relationships. All this cerebral stuff was supposed to inspire the kids and lead to great insights. I loved my subject, and I offered the kids my treasures, naively thinking that the thirsty horses I led to the river will be eager to drink. Not quite so. I had to realize that teaching kids is more about habit forming, which tends to be a not too glamorous part of the job. A couple of years ago, I met a high school girl whose family fell apart and she experienced ugly things. She was a mess. Now, how do we help somebody like her? The brainy stuff and preaching are out of the question. Traumatized kids are on a different page. Well-intended habit forming? Well, where is the continuity and the consistency if kids bounce from teacher to teacher in the education system? A Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew, and I are on a train, and we have plenty of time to talk, so I tell them that I'm a religious person. They all look at me. Okay, tell us everything. What do we need to know about your religion? In a scenario like this, I would be keen to establish a common ground. So these are the simple things I can tell them with conviction. 1. I have to work hard for everything in my life. It's a given, and I accept it. I consider myself blessed because I experience so many beautiful things in my life. These are gifts, and I'm thankful for them. When I make a mistake and hurt others, I must make things right. My conscience matters. I want to restore my good standing. For past mistakes, I even pay forward. I could have died many times. How come I didn't? My accident 3 years ago. How is it even possible that I'm not dead or I'm not in a wheelchair? I prefer to think that somebody is looking out for me, and I'm forever grateful for my life. Well, hopefully all my travel companions nod in approval. Habit forming is not the same as obedience training, unless, of course, you want to raise sheep people. Just always do what I say, and then you'll be rewarded for being a good follower. Strong, independent individuals who are lifelong learners, solve problems, continue to grow, have to have good habits. Now, some of it they may have learned from their role models, but some of it they probably figured out themselves. The number one good habit. I'm going to use this cowboy wisdom again because it's so good. if you dig yourself into a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging. You constantly need to monitor and critically evaluate what you're doing. I did something differently. I made a change. I tried something new. Did I go in the right direction? Am I doing worse? I find that a lot of people just lurch in a certain direction and they cannot correct their course because the feedback loop is missing. We need to learn to reflect on things and to be honest with ourselves. Good habit number 2, invite criticism from others. When you are enamored by your genius theory and the skeptic pokes holes in it, learn and listen. Appreciate the devil's advocate. The third good habit, do not cherry pick information that suits you. Consider other perspectives. Always check information from multiple sources. Now, there are probably many more good habits, but these are the ones I picked because these are the ones I think we should prioritize in our schools. You can serve up your intellectual treasures. You can play the teacher and make a good effort in habit forming. These two things may not make any difference. The troubled girl who I mentioned, dragging her heavy baggage of childhood trauma, is actually doing better. At her high school, she found enough decent and caring teachers who reached out to her. The human gestures helped her because she felt that they were genuine.